Well, come on in the room. You've just stepped into a space where healing meets truth, wisdom meets experience, and soul care is always on the agenda. Hello, I'm Dr. Antoinette Marie Williams, transformation speaker, author, and your guide on this journey to wholeness and well being. Each week, we'll pull up a chair, pour into one another, and unpack real life conversations about healing, growth, relationships, faith, and family, and the beauty of becoming. This isn't just a podcast, it's a sanctuary. So take a breath, relax your shoulders, and come on in the room with Dr. Antoinette Marie Williams. Well, hello there. I hope that you are doing fantastic. This is Dr. Antoinette Marie Williams, and tell me, how did your weekend go? I hope that everything that you desire to have actually happened for you, for your friends, for your family. And so today, if nobody has ever told you that you are seen, that you are loved, and there is space for you right here on this podcast. So before we get into everything, I want you to do one thing for me. Share this video and let's take a breath. When we breathe, we're going to breathe through our nose and we're going to exhale through our mouths. So let's do that as other individuals might be coming on in the room. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. One more again. Inhale. Exhale. Good job. Good job. So today we are going to concentrate on everything that is about healing. We're going to talk about the truth. The truth will set you free. But just as you're seeing on your screen, but first, you got to be able to get really real and really uncomfortable. And sometimes, as we travel through this life, we don't like to get uncomfortable, but we want results. And so today, I'm going to talk a little bit about what those results may look like, and not that Instagram version that we always hear people talk about. Oh, I'm telling the truth. What type of truth is that? And it's not going to be that churchy version either. Nothing wrong with that. But if we're not going to tell the real truth, as my grandmother would say, we must will not say anything. So the real, the raw, the possibly tear-stained truth today, because freedom cannot flow where there is falsehood. Freedom cannot flow when we are not engaging in truth. And so let's start in 2 different ways. Let's start with that personal truth. You know, that truth that sometimes we tell ourselves, which we call it truth, but is it really that? I think the scariest part of truth is the pause right before you tell it. Hey, Michelle, I think that's part of the scariest part of truth. You know how if you were going down a ski slope and you're like, sometimes that part is the scariest part. So for that moment when you know saying it out loud sometimes will change everything. But I want you to listen, family. Silence is loud. Even if you never open up your mouth, are you staying silent? It speaks volumes. And the other thing, come on a little closer. Lies will always drain your spirit. Every time you tell a lie, no matter what you're telling the lie for, whether it is to protect someone, whether it is to because somebody else told you to, it drains your spirit because your spirit wants you to live in spirit and in truth. But when we are trying to protect individuals, and many times as we are trying to protect individuals, we are harming ourselves. So I want you to ask yourself this: where in your life are you pretending that it's okay when it's not? Where in your life you know that this is not the truth? It's not even your truth, but you still are pretending that it is. Let's pause a little bit. Let's breathe a little bit. So, if there are areas that you are pretending, put it in the chat, put it in the comments, write it down. I hope that you brought your journals on today. Did you bring your journals for today? But every time we come on in the room, we are writing and we are jotting things down so that after the podcast, you can go back and it is really your accountability partner. This journal is your accountability partner. So let's talk a little bit about family and cultural truth. Now, I know I remember growing up where I would hear family members say, "We family, what goes on in this house stays in this house." Has anybody ever heard that? I know I've heard it numerous times. Let's talk about our own roots for a minute, our own cultural, what we call norms. So many of us were raised in families where silence was survival. Don't talk about mom not having a job. Don't talk about dad drinking. Don't talk about um, the brother that is locked up. Don't talk about the sister that got pregnant. We don't want to talk about any of that. But I will say this: I recall when in families where people were abused, don't talk about that. And it seems that we didn't even question dysfunction. We didn't even know what dysfunction looked like. And we were living it, didn't know it was dysfunction, thought it was the norm. You prayed, you smiled, and you moved on. You prayed, you smiled, and you moved on. But that silence, it is literally passed down like a family recipe from generation to generation. And it actually is toxic. Have you had a situation where you knew something was a lie? Come on in the room. Where you knew something was a lie and you kept hearing it that year, the next year, and nobody says, "Hello, that is not what happened." That is that is not what happened. And I remember, and you may remember as well, what people say, "Well, just we want to just save face. We don't want to upset such and such." My beloved, we got to start telling the truth. And then you can do it in love. You can tell the truth. You can talk about the truth. You can emphasize the truth in love. Now, that doesn't mean that you weaponize it. Like it's you tell the truth when it's convenient for you. That means that you're not weaponizing it. But you're also not going to hide behind, I hear people say, you just want to keep the peace. How am I keeping the peace and I am suffering on the inside? What peace? Where is the peace? So if I cannot tell the truth and I'm hiding behind keeping the peace, then to me, this says, beloved, that your house is on fire. How can I live in that more abundantly? And you are asking me to tell a lie. And some of us, come on now, some of us have been the lie. Yeah. Some of us have been the lie in situations where you may have been the secret. You may have been the secret. Yeah. But I want to tell you today that enough is enough. Enough is enough. And it can start with you, and it can start today. Now, some of you may be asking, well, Doc, how do I do that? Or, people are going to be upset with me. Yeah, but you've been upset with you for 25 years. You've been upset with you. You can't even look yourself in the mirror because you know you are living a lie. But you don't want to upset the house. So you keep living this lie and you keep being angry and you continue to be upset and you continue to be sad and you continue to be this and you continue to be that. Listen, sometimes picking up a phone, if you are able to do that and have it to be reciprocated, because some people have gone on, but maybe it is a phone call. Maybe your truth is establishing a boundary. Maybe it's just you saying, this happened and it hurt me. That's why having your journal on this podcast is your accountability partner. For you to be able to say and be conscious minded and say, hey, hold on. I know everybody's doing a whole lot of stuff, but I got something to say. And what you want to say is important. I started off today saying, I see you. I see that there may be some things that have happened and you are still quiet, but you are hurting and you're angry. And some of you not even just angry, you're just downright mad. And you didn't need the diary of a Black woman to tell you. You're just mad and angry. And a lot of times what we do is, because we are mad and angry, we will take that out on our children. Because we are mad and angry, we will take that out on even animals. Because we are mad and angry, we will take that out on someone else. Yes, I said it. See, we're talking about everything truth today. Everything truth today. And I want to tell you this. It is good for you to tell the truth. Say, this happened to me when I was 12. This happened to me when I was 7. Because your voice is important. When we start telling the truth, we break generational. People call them curses. I don't necessarily call it a generational curse. I call it what it is. You done lied. And you taught your children how to lie about that same thing. Now they lying. Now they done told their children that same lying story. Now they lying. But let me tell you something about this generation, whether it's millenniums or even younger. They ain't really trying to be playing that. Tell people the truth. Because at some point, someone in your family has to speak the truth. And remember earlier, your silence speaks even when you don't open your mouth. So think about this. No more lying. That's enough. Start telling the truth in love. And that's when you can begin to heal. Have you ever had a situation where you were anxious about something and you're like, I don't know how to tell this person? No, I don't know because I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to be that person. And then you go and you know you have to say something. You go to them, you say, you know what, I just want to let you know, like 2 weeks ago, this happened. And it doesn't have to be abuse or it doesn't have to be anything like that. But this happened. And they come to you, they say, you know what, I'm sorry. Somebody mentioned it, but nobody wanted to really tell me the truth. And then how your sense of being is elevated. Because most of us worry about things that never come to fruition. I want to talk to you a little bit about purpose, present, and power. So, as we're talking about your truth and the truth, when we're speaking about purpose, present, and power, let me tell you how you can't build a legacy on a lie. Oh, come on now. And I say it in this way. I remember growing up. This is funny. I remember growing up and I would be in school and I would hear people say, oh, such and such is such and such is Native American. It just seemed like everybody wanted to have that culture within them. Or people would tell another lie, like, um, that's just how they are. They just quiet all the time. People are not just naturally don't want to say absolutely anything. That's not how humans are. We were not designed and created to stay and to be silent. You cannot build a future. You can't build a legacy. It is not wise. Thank you for that. It is not wise for you to build a legacy on a lie. Because honestly, if you are trying to do that, it really isn't a legacy. But many of us will try to build a legacy on a lie when we know it's a lie. But we want to save face or we started the lie. How about that? You know you told that lie. You know it. And some of them other people know it too. I see so many powerful men and women wearing masks. They have literally outgrown 5 seasons ago. You still saying the same thing. You're still trying to do the same thing. Today is your Juneteenth. Today is your July 4th. Take the mask off. Your liberation starts today. Let me say it in a way where some of our younger listeners, sis, bruh, take it off. You don't need to perform. Your presence is your power. Your presence is your power. You being authentic is your power. You being truthful is your power. When we start to tell the truth, I mean, really tell the truth, not this, well, it was half the truth. Well, a half the truth, as somebody, a wise woman told me, half the truth is still a lie. Half the truth is still a lie. So I'm encouraging you today to tell all of it, to tell all the truth. And many times what happens is that we don't tell all the truth because we had something to do with the lie. I love you. But in this segment on today, in this episode number 3, it is so important for you to know that your freedom will continue to be great when you tell the truth. And stop always worrying about how somebody else is going to feel. You're not trying to harm anyone. You're not trying to hurt anyone. What you are doing is saying, I have been living a lie for 20 years. I have been living a lie for 5 years. I have been living a lie for all my life. That's somebody's story. That I I come off and I say I like this, but I really like this. Mhm. So you, as a human being created in the image of God, tell the truth. And some of us, we would say, you know what? I understand. You're going to have to take some baby steps. I get that. I get that. Because some of us got a whole bunch of lies in our house. Come on in the room, right? I want you to invest in yourself and start by telling yourself the truth. I mean, really telling yourself the truth. Tell your truth about who you are. And if you don't know who that is, tell yourself the truth about who you see yourself as. Sometimes we can look at other people and we're like, wow, I like the way that, her personality, her character, her integrity. So talk about what you see yourself doing, who you see yourself as, what you need. There's nothing wrong with you saying what you need. True story. Today, I had another engagement, and my husband came with me. And I said to him, give me, about 5 minutes. We had a little sticky little situation. By the time I came out of that place, my husband had been in the vehicle for an hour and a half. We talking about telling the truth, right? We're going to be transparent today, right? My husband had been in that vehicle for an hour and a half. Yes, he had air conditioning. That's truth. But he still had been there waiting for me. And yes, even though I texted him and said, hey, give me 10 minutes, I'm coming out. I wasn't out in 10 minutes. So even in that situation, and we're going on, and I got in the car and I started talking about something else. And my husband is a gentle being. And he said, now you can take anybody to a level, right? But he said to me, this Dr. Williams is true today. He said, dear, what are you thinking about right now? And I said, well, thinking about the house or something we got going on with the fence. And he said, so when you went in, you told me you were going to be in there for about 5 minutes. 5 minutes turned into an hour and a half, and I'm outside. And so I rebutted, well, you know what? I apologize. Sometimes we could go and you know yourself, you can try to justify it. And it may have been sometimes where you're looking at things, you're like, well, I'm justified in doing this. I'm justified because I had something to do and get. Listen, it's not justifiable. And he said to me, it's not even about all of that. It's about when you came back in the vehicle, you didn't even talk about it. You didn't even say, hey, I apologize. I was in there too long. You just went on to something else. So be aware, be more aware of who you are, who you want to be. I don't want to be that person that doesn't consider, doesn't matter what else was going on. Doesn't matter that it was a high elevated situation, that it was an emergency. None of that matters. What does matter is me keeping my word and telling my truth, right? And so today, sometimes when we are becoming aware and we start to talk about our truth, we can disregard other human beings and not do it in the most kind way. I would say this: when you start telling the truth, your life will start to align with your actual calling. It will. And there is where your peace is. So when after we had that conversation, this is real life, y'all. After we had that conversation, he's driving and I said, "You are absolutely right. I should have." And I apologize for that. And he looked at me, well, kind of, sort of, because he was driving. He just kind of looked over, put his hand um, on top of mine, and he just said, "Thank you." See, sometimes what I could have done, I could have been like, "Well, you knew what I was doing, and you should have did." No, no. Sometimes admitting that you are wrong can disengage people's negativity about what they're getting ready to say next. I want you to think about that. I also want you to consider what truth that you want to engage in this week. What is something that you know on last week that you didn't tell the truth about? What didn't you tell the truth about? Did you, if you are hourly staff, did you not tell the truth about how long your lunch break was? If you are in a entrepreneurial environment, did you not tell the truth about time allocation, taxes, whatever? If you are just a individual, a human being, and you know something is bothering you, something happened to you, and I know many of you right now are like, I can't have that conversation. I can't have that conversation with my mom. I can't have that conversation with my father. I can't have this conversation with my grandmother. Well, I will say this to you. I hope that you can. I know that you might be upset. And sometimes we're upset and don't even know why we are. But yet we're holding someone else's lie because we don't want them to be upset. But yet you are not just upset, you're mad. You're not eating. You're letting alcohol be that respite care for you. If you want something different, beloved, you got to do something different. So here's the truth I want to leave with you on today. Your truth is not a burden, it's a breakthrough in disguise. I want you to say that with me. And Michelle, put that in the chat. Your truth is not a burden. It actually is a breakthrough in disguise. I know it don't feel good. I know it may be strenuous for you. I know that you're already thinking about, if I tell the truth, the whole truth, so help me God, somebody's going to get hurt. Well, that somebody is you, and you're already hurt. So you don't have to be so concerned about what everybody else is going to say, what everybody else is going to do. I'm going to get a phone call. Somebody's going to send me an email. Somebody's going to send me a message in Messenger. If that happens, let it happen, because you have told your truth. And I would say, from personal experience, I've had a situation where I told the truth, and then somebody else came and said, that's my story too. So sometimes we're trying to build big Ephesus and big legacies, and our children are hurting. Our children have suffered because of title, because of situations, because of environment, and sometimes because they don't want you to get hurt. They don't want you to get hurt. That's how children, young people feel like, I don't want to hurt my mom. I don't want to hurt my dad. So I'm going to just hold it in, hold it in. We're not holding it in anymore. Start aligning who you are with the truth that you speak. The truth that you speak will align, should align, must align with who you are. And then that's where you can find your peace. And the beautiful thing about telling the truth is you get to exhale. You get to exhale. Many times I see a lie very similar to an uncaged animal. An uncaged animal where it wants to come out. It wants to be exposed. It wants not to be trapped. So, here is your invitation. Take your accountability partner with this, which is your journal, okay? Or if you don't have a journal, which I encourage that you do, take some time, pen, pencil, piece of paper. Sit in stillness. Don't have music on, just sit in stillness. And ask yourself this: what truth am I finally ready to say aloud, even if it's only to myself? Let me say that again. What truth are you ready and willing to say out loud to yourself, even if you're the only person that's listening, even if you're the only person in the room? That's where you start. Can you say it to yourself without anybody else around? So I want to give you three things, three skills that you can utilize in your week of reflection. Here's number one. Where is my life? And where have I been silent? Where in my life, or where is your life, and where have you been silent? Just to keep the peace. Where have you been silent just to keep the peace, but on the inside, you're burning up? On the inside, you're torturing yourself. Number two, what truth about yourself are you afraid to face, but you know that you must face it? What truth about yourself you know that you are afraid to face, but you know you got to face it. You got to talk about it. Number three, how would your life be if you were fully erect in the truth of your life? How would your life, let me ask you this, how would your life even shift if you fully stood in truth? That's a good question. Sometimes you have to see a thing before it becomes. Sometimes you have to see it in your mind. That's why Most High gave us a great imagination. You have to be able to see it in your mind before it comes to fruition. And I want you to think about this. I encourage you to write a letter to yourself. And as you write this letter to yourself, begin it with the truth is. I think Fantasia had a song called Truth Is. The truth is, and let me give you an example. Yes, the truth is that you are great. Yes, the truth is that you are a beloved individual of God. But for some of us, the truth also is that I lied to my children. The truth is that I got some money hidden. The truth is I really don't like this person. So as I close on today, I want to say this to you. And here is your grounding prayer for this upcoming week. Very, very, very simple. You ready? Okay. Here's your prayer. God, give me the courage to speak, the wisdom, and to discern and have the grace to heal. Give me the courage to speak, the wisdom to discern, and the grace to heal. One truth at a time. If you are able to say that as your grounding prayer for this coming week, I truly believe that you are on the cusp of transformation. You are tilting and pivoting towards greatness in the life that you want to live every single day. Because the great I am is already within you. We have just gotten here on this earth planet and we're just doing things where sometimes don't make two licks of sense. However, there is still rest in knowing, God, give me the courage to speak, the wisdom to discern, and the grace to heal, one truth at a time. And if you feel led, please share this episode with someone. You can also send me an email if you want to have some conversation, if you want some counseling. You can also send me an email on that. And I think we have our website as well, because I know that this is not easy. I know that it is not easy. So you can go and visit www.drantoinettemarie.com to view any and all of my services. Whether it's Reiki, you can do your own study on that. Whether it is counseling 101, whether it is counseling in a group, you can have all that information there. And several of my books are also on my website. If you know that you have things that you want to work out, Truth is that you are great. Truth is that I believe in you. Truth is that you can do all things. You can do all things. Steady yourself and know that truth is telling the truth is your liberty. Be sure to tune in on next week as we talk a little bit about you, your legacy. We're going to concentrate mostly on next week where it has to do with the cost of carrying what is not yours. It does not belong to you. So why are you carrying it? We're going to talk about that on next week. So again, I'm saying to you, greatness is in you, no matter where you go. I want you to be blessed and take care and be well, beloved. This is Dr. Antoinette Marie. See you next week. Be well. Well, come on in the room. You've just stepped into a space where healing meets truth, wisdom meets experience, and soul care is always on the agenda. Hello, I'm Dr. Antoinette Marie Williams, transformation speaker, author, and your guide on this journey to wholeness and well-being. Each week, we'll pull up a chair, pour into one another, and unpack real-life conversations about healing, growth, relationships,